Hey everybody, Charlie 902 here, and welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. We last left off, we screwed up in trying to prove there was a third bullet, but we're going to continue on and try to see if we can figure out the right way to do this. I think we just hit on something. We pitted juror number 4 against 6. That's the doctor or the surgeon against the Russian assassin guy who said he was a ballistics expert, and we're trying to figure out why there wasn't a bullet in Sherlock Holmes. Let's continue on and see what we can find out. Yes, a pouch. It's where he keeps 3 glass vials of very dangerous chemicals that he uses in his investigations. What? Really? Doctor, where's the pouch Mr. Sholmes was wearing? Well, the fellow had nothing like that on his person when he arrived at the hospital, as far as I remember. If I may, let me know he has it. Lord Van Zykes? While I realize it is forbidden for the prosecution to interject during a summation examination, I should inform the defense that I have the pouch in question in the antechamber outside the courtroom. Sorry? As I understand it, when the police arrived on the scene and found Mr. Sholmes injured, they removed the pouch in order to assess the wound. Ah, thank goodness. I thought I was getting forgetful for a moment. Since then, it has been in my safekeeping along with all other evidence relating to the case. I can personally vouch for the fact that it has not been touched since the incident occurred. Very well. While extremely unconventional during a summation examination, I must demand the prosecution present the item in question with all speed. Bring forth Mr. Sherlock Holmes's pouch. It will have a bullet in it, won't it? I see. Oh, maybe there's not a bullet in it. This is the pouch worn by Mr. Sholmes on the night in question, is it? Look at that. One of the files is broken and the leather around it is scorched black. It's almost as if the file exploded. Exploded? So that night, the bullet from the Skulkin brothers' gun struck Mr. Sholmes' pouch, and it was the glass vial exploding that caused the fellow's injury. This bullet did not penetrate victim, but was deflected into wall of shop. But no, it wasn't. A delightfully complex aroma. Well, it would appear one mystery has been solved at least, though it has no bearing on the truth of this case. It hasn't been solved because that's not his blood. The bungling and burgling brothers shot the detective, and the accused shot the pawnbroker. The pertinent facts of the case remain unaltered. Ugh. But at least the mystery is solved. I can sleep easy tonight. Thank you, young man. Da. Thank you very much. For what? Why would you be thanking me? Glad I could help. Due to its bearing on the conundrum just solved, the court will sequester the scruffy pouch as evidence. Harley's pouch isn't scruffy. Sholmes' pouch has been entered into the court record. The pouch Mr. Sholmes was wearing around his waist at the time of the shooting, one of the glass vials is smashed and there are scorch marks around it. Now, the summation examination. Hold on. It's court record time. Let's go over here. Let's look at this. Examine. Bullet looks like it entered here. It's really scorched badly just here. Oh, the strap is broken. Look. This must be where the bullet hit then. Let me see. Yeah, the bullet is still in there. Ah, that's what we wanted to see. There's the third bullet. What the? Iris, look! Behind where the broken file was. Do you see it? Ah, that's the Skulkin brothers' bullet. What a stroke of luck that it hit his pouch. This is an amazing discovery. What this means is, there were 3 bullets fired at Windybanks that night. We found exactly what that juror was talking about. The third bullet. It's time to press that juror again, I think. Third bullet has been entered into the court record. A projectile we discovered lodged in Mr. Sholmes' pouch caused one of the files to explode, injuring Mr. Sholmes. Okay, is there really anything else to look at here? I guess so. These glass vials are full of Hurley's homemade potions. Homemade? Yes, like fingerprint powder to show up where people have touched things, and scent amplifying solution to intensify a smell lingering on an object. That's amazing. They're all very easy to use. There's just one thing that you have to be careful of. They're all very flammable. Mr. Sholmes is a walking bomb. Either he's passionate about finding out the truth or just oblivious to the dangers. Anything else? Oh look, there's a hole here at the back. It doesn't look much like a bullet hole, but clearly something's ripped through the leather with great force. Something must have pierced it somehow to have left this hole behind. Yes, it looks that way. Mr. Sholmes and his pouch both took a beating, didn't they? Anything else? That's probably it, right? Let's look at the bullet. This is the bullet that was fired from the Skulkin brothers' gun on the night of the incident. Yes, so it turns out it never actually entered Hurley's body at all. Thanks to the thick leather of that pouch he was wearing, it saved him. Hehe, Hurley's always lucky like that. Well, considering what he had to go through in hospital, I wonder how lucky he really was. Oh dear, poor Hurley. Alright, let's do it. Let's go back. Appear the defense is somewhat struggling to alter opinion, huh? Please, my lord, a little more time. After all, that's a new piece of evidence. Could be a valuable clue, and you can't afford to overlook anything here, Ryunosuke. And there's still a way to turn this around, somehow. I'm sure of it. Alright, so we need to go escape, escape, escape. This is the one with the bullet, right? Alright, so now we need to press again. We're going to skip the dialogue. We're going to say we have proof this time. Alright, come on. Should give us an option now. I can prove it. Allow me to show you then the third bullet. So this time, so it's a physical bullet we needed to show, not evidence that there was a bullet, but we need to actually show the bullet. Here you go. Look at this.
Take that!
Look how confident he is right now. Here it is. We discovered it just now. Yes, on the night in question in Windybank's pawnbrokery, another bullet was fired.
Hold it!
What is this new trickery? You Nipponese conjurer? Where did you find that bullet? It was lodged inside Mr. Sholmes' pouch. What? Uh-oh. Uh-oh, look at the face. He's in fight mode. His pouch was removed from around Mr. Sholmes' waist before he was taken to hospital. And since then it has been touched by no one. Do you mean to say? The shot fired by the Skulkin brothers that night? Yes, as your lordship has surmised, it hit this pouch. But that makes no sense whatsoever. We already know the whereabouts of the bullet fired at Mr. Sholmes. It's clearly visible in this photographic print. Ah. 2 guns from the scene have already been submitted into the court record as evidence. Yes, that of Mr. Windybank and that belonging to the Skulkin brothers. An examination of both guns revealed that only a single bullet had been fired from each. Ah. But that must mean... That's right. We now know that on the night in question, 3 bullets were fired. However, only 2 bullets were fired from the guns recovered from the crime scene. And until that incontrovertible inconsistency is somehow explained, we cannot and must not pass judgment. Ag. Arg. The drama. Order, order, order. While this summation examination remains incomplete, the court has been presented with new facts. Facts that would appear to shake the very foundations upon which the case against the defendant has been built. As it is my prerogative in this situation, I hereby temporarily suspend the summation examination. By Jupiter. What? Bailiff, bring the witnesses back to the stand at once. So the judge is stepping in and saying we need to look at this more. Okay, Mr. Judge Man. Witnesses. Governor, were you listening to proceedings while the defense carried out the summation examination? We was, Governor, we was. Perhaps we can dispense with the tedious preamble. Simply answer this one question. A third bullet has been identified at the scene of the crime. What do you make of that? Make of it, Gov? I don't make nothing of nothing. What? We got interrupted. I didn't hit the next button. It just interrupted me. Is it one of yours? Gore blimey, Gov. Gore blimey. Not a chance. In that case, did you have an accomplice? What? Hey, what? Never. The Skulkin brothers work alone. It's just the two of us. That's our trademark. How soon we forget poor Sulky. Only 2 of the bullets from the crime scene originated from the firearms we have in evidence. The third bullet was fired from another gun. Where is it? Lummy, that's a head scratcher. Counsel for the defense. Yes? I should like to hear your thoughts regarding these new developments. The third bullet, and the mysterious missing firearm for which it came. Thinking back over all the testimony we've heard and all the evidence we've seen, I think I'm starting to form a picture of what really happened that night. My lord, I think it's clear what this third bullet tells us about the Skulkin brothers. Oh. Okay, so I don't think they had another gun. I also think it may have nothing to do with them. Or they may have had an accomplice. Let's save it real quick, because I'm probably going to choose the wrong one. Record, save. Yes. Save complete. Let's go back. All right, let's weigh these 2 options. If they had a secret accomplice, that means Egbert Benedict hired them to come with him. If it's nothing to do with them, they just bumbled into the pawn shop at like the wrong time. Now, I think I remember them saying don't mention him or something like that earlier. So I'm going to say they have accomplice. Could be wrong. On that night at Windybank's pawnbrokery, the brothers must have been working with a third man. Well, we might be right here. The witnesses are clearly doing their best to cover up the existence of this accomplice. But the evidence all points to the fact that there was someone else present. Someone carrying a gun.
Objection!
Uh-oh, hallowed chalice again. An accomplice, you say? Pig swill. Maybe we're wrong. These protracted proceedings have already forced us to endure 2 summation examinations. Indeed, they have. Yet in all that time, there has been not a murmur of a third man. If this apparently wraith-like being exists, the court must be shown hard evidence. Without it, this fantasy will be crushed. Okay, I do have evidence. Arg. The prosecution demands answers on 2 counts. Firstly, proof, evidence, that this third accomplice was ever at the scene of the crime. And secondly, the identity of this spurious character. Skulkins are lying, I know that. But how can I ascertain the identity of the person they're hiding? I already know, the blood thing. Well, counsel? I'm supposed to prove the existence of this accomplice and reveal the person's identity even. In response to the prosecution's demands, my lord, the defense is ready to present. Defense is ready. I believe I can provide all the answers the prosecution demands. So, my Nipponese friend, Despite the swimming eyes, you seem to think you have something to say. This promises to be interesting. I have to push forward now. There's no other option. I need to use every single piece of evidence available to me if it will make a difference. In that case, counsel, I would ask you to present the evidence without delay. On the night in question, in the moments leading up to the death of the victim, what proof have you that there was a third intruder present at the scene? All right, so there are two possible answers here. I don't know which one is the one the game wants. The blood samples show the green blood that was on the disc here. And then the picture, well, the picture is in the blood samples. So we're going to go with blood samples. Let's present that again.
Take that!
The evidence is right here in this portfolio. By Jove, that portfolio again, is it? Do you expect the court to rifle through your papers itself? Be more specific. You claim one of the blood samples proved the presence of this third intruder. Well, which one is it? Okay, so this is green. This is also green. So, once again, I could choose wrong here. So we know this is an unknown person. It's this. Present this.
Take that!
What am I looking at here? There appears to be some green paint or such like around the bullet hole in the middle of the calendar. That's a blood stain, my lord. A blood stain? Green blood? Curious, even for you. Is the court to understand that the intruder was some unhuman creature? It's something developed by Mr. Herlock Sholmes. By the great detective. New invention, stop. Not yet appeared in stories, stop. It's this, you see. It doesn't have a name yet, though. This fogger sprays a chemical that reacts with the different elements in people's blood to change its color. Different elements of people's blood? Yes, everyone's blood is slightly different, you see, because it's made up of different elements. So by seeing what color it changes to, you can tell in a flash whose blood it is. Oh, that brings a whole extra dimension to looking at blood. Talk of blood in courtroom. Stop. Very exciting. Stop. As an example, this one shows the blood of the victim, Mr. Windybank. Ah, a striking blue. Yes, so you see, the green color of this blood stain on the calendar shows that somebody else was shot in the main part of the shop. Now hold fire there, young man. Could it be from some unrelated incident, couldn't it? No, it's not unrelated. The date shown on the calendar is the date on which Mr. Windybank was killed. By golly. Therefore, we can assume that whoever was shot on the same day. Then whose blood is it? Well, the Skulkin brothers in the stand don't appear to be suffering from any gunshot injuries. Which means it must be the blood of somebody else. The third intruder, in fact.
Objection!
Whose identity the court is still waiting to hear. You can't delay this any longer, my learned friend. Who is this alleged third intruder? Mr. Egbert Benedict. And present.
Take that!
The man's name is Egbert Benedict. Egbert Benedict? Who on earth are you talking about, counsel? He paid a visit to Windybank's pawnbrokery on the afternoon before the incident took place. When the accused attempted to deceive the pawnbroker into releasing this article into possession. That's right. The man identified by the defense, Mr. Egbert Benedict, then attempted to take the article from the defendant by force. Broker. Yes, sir? I believe this filthy pocket thief has just redeemed an article from you, no? Yes. The article in question belongs to me. I demand for it to be returned at once. Now that's a lie. What are you trying to pull? Give me back my overcoat, you wastrel. And needless to say, any music box discs too. Music box discs. Box discs. It's hard to say. Inspector Gregson was there at the time and can attest to what happened. In the end, it was the inspector himself who took the disc. Can you corroborate this account, Inspector? Yes, my lord. That's more or less what happened. And in the interest of being thorough, I asked Windybank for a print showing the fellow. Taken from one of his red-handed recorder gubbinses? Yes, that's him talking to Mr. Windybank that morning. And you claim this man is the brothers' accomplice. Well, Mr. and Mr. Skulkin? Never seen the geezer before in me life. On me life, Gov, on me life. Never seen him. Well, somewhat unsurprisingly, it appears our witnesses disagree with the assertion. I'm sure your lordship recalls my learned Nipponese friend's actual assertion, which was that he could prove the identity of the alleged accomplice. Yes, and I can. Then show us the evidence. I agree. We must see proof the clean-cut gentleman in the photograph is the filthy criminal you say he is. It's the disc. Come on, it's not that hard. This is the last piece of evidence. Oh, this is it? Is this the end? I had a feeling that something has been missing in this trial from the very start. But now, I'm going to drag it kicking and streaming into the courtroom. Are you ready to present your answer to the court then, counsel? Yes, my lord. The defense will present the evidence now. Proof that the man pictured in this photographic print was in fact the person struck by the third bullet. Alright, so this is the bloody music disc. Right here. Present.
Take that!
As I mentioned before, on the afternoon of the day in question, the defendant attempted, deceitfully, admittedly, to reclaim this disc from Windybanks, which is when the aforementioned Egbert Benedict appeared on the scene, I believe. This man then attempted to purloin the article from the defendant's possession, no? That's correct, my lord. I myself was present at the time. It was following this that a minor incident occurred. But of course, sir, here's the disc for you. Very well. Then I shall bid you farewell. Say goodbye to style. Wait a minute. That disc. It's mine. Arg, what do you think you're doing, you little tramp? You've drawn blood, you filthy animal. Being a music box disc, it has countless small but sharp metal protrusions over its surface. Those protrusions cause Mr. Benedict's finger to bleed, and the resulting smear of blood is still visible in the disc now. Goodness, a blood stain, is it? My assistant and I have just analyzed the blood stain here in this very courtroom, using my trusty fogger gun. Yes, and we added the results to this portfolio. I say, it's green. It's exactly the same color as the blood around the calendar. The evidence is conclusive. The man calling himself Mr. Egbert Benedict, who was in Windybanks earlier than that in the day, is the accomplice who was present at the scene of the crime that same night. Okay, so everybody's talking about there being more people, but here's the flaw in this logic. One, how can we tell that it's the exact same color of green? And two, how can we tell that there aren't multiple people who have green blood that exist in the world of millions and billions of people? So, but I get what they're getting at. It's almost like a DNA match for this time period, and the MacGuffin to make it happen is a magical gun that turns blood colors. My lord, it is the opinion of the defense that Mr. Egbert Benedict should be summoned to the courtroom to testify. It would certainly seem that we can ill afford to ignore this gentleman's apparent presence.
Objection!
This has gone on long enough now. This flagrant ignorance of the mechanics of law. Sherlock Holmes, you say? Yes, I've heard the name. The protagonist in a series of short stories for the vulgar classes. A god of detection or some such. Oh, you're gonna piss Iris off. And now you employ chemical substances devised by this fantastical persona in the highest court in the land? Do you expect us to take you seriously? The samples made by this plaything are not fit to be called evidence. He is 100% true, though. Like, this has to be, like, deemed by court and law to be something that can be used. So the bloodstain turned a shade of green. What of it? Here's to you successfully proving that no other blood in the world would turn the same color. Ah, well. Uh-oh, got the foot. And pray, do not even think of suggesting that we should take Mr. Sholmes' word for it. Hug? Is he right? Is Mr. Sholmes' concoction a load of rubbish? I don't know. I mean, he is a great detective. What are you talking about? We can't let him get away with that. I knew it would come to this. Of course, Mr. Sholmes' invention isn't going to be recognized by any official body. But what are the choices I have? I'm just remembering what Father Christmas over there said before. He does look like Santa Claus. About he was temporarily suspending the summation examination. Ah. In other words, the examination isn't over yet, is it? Good grief. What did you just say, young girl? And in a summation examination, the decision as to whether or not the trial continues is in the hands of the 6 jurors, isn't it? So the way I see it, it doesn't matter what certain other people think of Hurley's invention. At least, not for now. Yeah, she's right. It only matters what the jury thinks. Young lady, you have quite the devious mind. It really just comes down to one thing. Whether these ladies and gentlemen of the jury are convinced by what you say, Runo. Is that about right, would you say, or did I misunderstand something? Unbelievable. Mr. Sholmes' partner is a force to be reckoned with. Iris Wilson, sharpshooter. Sharpshooter? Really? After that shrewd precis of the situation from an entirely unexpected source, it must be acknowledged that the previous summation examination has yet to reach its conclusion. This is absurd. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the court now looks to you for your final leanings in this matter. As proud citizens of Her Majesty's Britain, I'm sure you will come to fair and just conclusions. So then, state your final decisions in turn, please.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Guilty.
Guilty!
Not guilty.
Why would the doctor think of guilt? 2 call guilty and 4 call not guilty. Such is the outcome of the summation examination.
Objection!
My lord, with all due respect, this is an outrage. You can't talk during this. The prosecution refuses to accept this decision. On what grounds? If these jurors are persuaded by some half-baked concoction devised by a pretender of real police work, then they are too ignorant to be trusted with the judgment of anyone's guilt. So you're claiming a mistrial. I'm sorry, Lord Van Zykes, but the outcome of the summation examination cannot be ignored. This trial will continue. Ag! Arg! Nevertheless, we find ourselves in a rather awkward situation. The defense has very reasonably requested the subpoena of a new witness. But sadly, I fear that will be impossible. What? The name the gentleman gave for himself, Egbert Benedict, is quite clearly false. I don't believe it. We knew this from the get-go, Rionosuke. What are you saying, man? You know that that he gave a fake name. Just when I'd managed to prove the man was there that night. Could I say something? Who was that, please? Who spoke? It was me, my lord. Oh, it was juror number 5. Juror number 5? What have you to say, madam? If possible, Inspector. Me, madam? I wonder if you might show the photographic print to me again, the one in which the gentleman is shown. Ah, right, yes, this one you mean. Of Mr. Benedict. Yes, there's no doubt in my mind. Juror number 5, you don't mean to say... Cliffhanger time. I think she knows who it is, but we're going to have to find out next episode. Thanks for watching. If you enjoy my content, please consider a like, a comment, and or subscribe. Stay tuned for the next episode. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.